The New York Knicks made a what some would call blockbuster in 2011 trade for Derrick Rose. They sent Dennis Smith Jr. as well as a second round pick over to Detroit. Derrick Rose comes back to New York after years of being in obscurity, and by obscurity I mean leaving to go to the Cavs and getting traded, and then going to the Pistons. So Johnny, what does this move mean for Derrick Rose? What does this move mean for the Knicks? Talk to me.
So it's going to be a beneficial relationship. I don't see this as a long term move. I look at the Knicks wanting to get young at point guard. They're bringing Rose in for a few reasons. One is he's a veteran now. He's not he. I'm gonna take a step back here. Everyone is gonna like I said about the LOL Mets. Everyone's gonna LOL Knicks this and oh my God, is Derrick Rose? Y'all guys are stuck in 2011. But you got to understand who we gave up. We gave up Dennis Smith Jr., who I don't know if he's played at all this year. We've had former members of this podcast sing Dennis Smith Jr.'s praises, despite Dennis Smith Jr. being hot garbage. Um, and we gave up a conditional second round pick. Conditional second round pick, nothing. That's literally nothing. So we gave up essentially nothing to acquire a quality starting level point guard at our biggest position of need. We
For
had
the
Alfred
record,
Payton starting there.
Dennis Smith Jr. 3 games, 3 points per game, 1 assist per game, 20% shooting.
Yeah, and
Please
this is the
continue.
man that LeBron James said was a travesty that he wasn't getting minutes with the Knicks. No, he's just garbage. And there's no hate on Dennis Smith Jr. He's a good dude. He works hard. It just is not happening on the court in New York, right? And it didn't happen on the court in Dallas either. So maybe Detroit will be different for him. With the best of luck to Dennis Smith Jr. But at the end of the day, point guard was our biggest need. We needed a guy who could consistently create offense for others, open up the floor. He had a few threes in his first game a couple days ago against Miami. So that's a good sign. He's averaging 14 and 4. Julius Randle is still moving the ball, averaging more than 5 assists per game. So at the end of the day, what Derrick Rose Jr. does for the Knicks is give them instant offense. It gives them a guy who you can put the ball in his hand that's not Julius Randle and can make plays. It takes pressure off of Randle and it takes pressure off of RJ Barrett to perform. And that's going to be huge because, I don't think RJ needs to be an on the ball player right now. The other thing that it does, what is really important, is the thing that he did first. The first thing that he did when he got in New York was he sent a text message to two players, Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly, the two Knicks rookies who are getting big minutes and are contributing members of a team that right now is what? They're the 9 or the 10 seed. They're on the inside track to make the playoffs right now, or the play-in tournament. And so Derrick Rose wants to be a mentor to these rookies. He's been through some shit. Y'all remember Derrick Rose in his first stint with the Knicks, where he got traded to the Cavs because he ditched the team for 3 days and fell off the face of the earth, right? And he was going through some stuff and having a tough time, and that's a-okay. I didn't hate on him then, and I didn't hate on Kyrie when Kyrie disappeared for a few days. Dennis Rodman has disappeared for a few days. People go through some shit. It happens.
Well,
We got to remember that these people are human.
In Dennis Rodman's case, he disappeared for a few days to go wrestle in WCW. So, he wasn't exactly
Yeah,
he was
and
dealing with some issues.
hang out with Carmen Electra.
He had to deal with Hulk Hogan and the NWO running rampant in WCW, so he had to go take care of that real quick. But hey, I mean,
Yeah, but it's the point is that people go through some shit. They're human. So I don't like get. I'm not gonna get on Derrick Rose for that. I'm excited that he's coming to New York, ready to make the rest. He's on a 1-year contract, so we'll see what happens after this year. There are no promises that he's staying here, but I'm excited to see the impact of a quality veteran with a good head on his shoulders, a smart dude who's been to the pinnacle. It's the youngest MVP in league history. Don't you ever forget that. Put some respect on Derrick Rose's name. And this is greatness. This is a guy who, yeah, he's not performing like greatness anymore. He's not an all-star. He's not a superstar. He's not that dude. But this is a guy who's achieved greatness, who's seen greatness, who's a great veteran with a great head on his shoulders, who's a smart dude who wants to come to New York and play a role. And I can't hate on that one bit. That's great. So I'm excited for the marriage here between the Knicks, what it means, and hopefully it gets my Knicks to the playoffs for the first time in a few years. I'd love to see some winning in New York because we've done a lot of nothing. And at the end of the day, being a middling team with young players that can show is hungry and can show that it wants to win, that's how you get stars. That's why Kyrie and KD went to Brooklyn and not the Knicks because they looked at the Knicks and saw a dumpster fire. And they looked at the Nets and saw a well coached, hungry team full of young dudes who wanted it. And if I'm KD and Kyrie, that choice is easy. I'm going to Brooklyn every time. So if the Knicks can show that that's what they are too, and they can show that Randall and RJ can play a role behind a superstar, that's a good way to go get a disgruntled dude like Bradley Beal or whoever ends up being available.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of things there. I think this is gonna be a good pickup for the Knicks. I generally think. I mean, it's better than it's an upgrade from Dennis Smith Jr. Obviously, that second round pick was probably worth nothing for them
Payton
anyway.
and Emmanuel quickly just splitting the time there.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be fine. Derrick Rose, he has a lot of he's shown that he has a lot of ball left to give. He's I think he's averaging like 17 or so points per game.
I
Like
think 14-4.
or 14-4. He was averaging I think 17 points last year, but regardless, he's still producing offensively. He can distribute the ball to other players. Perfect fit for that young team. And like you said, he's a good kind of transition piece in what seems to be a constant transition for the New York Knicks. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.